welcome, Rebekah. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I guess, do you want to introduce yourself and who you are, what you do?
Sure. My name is Rebekah Fusca, and I am the owner and creator of The Belief Edit, which is a life coaching company here on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. And it started as being a very general life coaching because I love all the people and all the things. And I had like tradies and I had mums and I had everyone. But what I found is it really seems to be niching down into women around my age, sort of in the 40s, 50s, who are just so bloody hard on themselves. And it really creates a heaviness in their life.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, when we talk about losing weight, I talk to my clients a lot about losing emotional weight because it's dragging them down and they feel like they're just putting one foot in front of the other and they're losing the joy for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't quite know where they're heading, don't quite know how they got to where they are. Is this the life they want to be leading? You know, so it's finding that joy. It's also finding that acceptance in where they're at because maybe fuck-ups led them to where they are.
Yeah.
So
it's only the case.
Yes. So acceptance first, learning from the lessons that they've been through in life, then figuring out how to manage their mind and emotions.
Okay.
Oof, that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Deliberately creating thoughts to create the results they want in their life, like becoming conscious creators of their life. Like we were just talking about 40, are we kind of almost halfway through our life? And did we consciously think about getting to 40? Or did we just kind of, oh, I guess I'll do this and then this comes next? And
I just woke up and I'm here.
so, yeah, I want to work with women who want to be conscious creators and go, no, I'm going to get really specific about what I want for my life going forward now.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if they're like, I don't know what that is, but I just want to create something different than what I have now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess, do you find there's, I know for me, I tend to have a lot of awareness, but not the tools.
Yes, and that's where I come in because this is the people don't come to me unless they've had some form of awareness.
Yeah.
They've had some form of looking around their life going, how
How did I get here?
How did I get here? How do I move forward?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is working with them of it's the who before the how. We need to work on who you are before we figure out on moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to put on Do Not Disturb because I've made that mistake before.
My phone is on silent. I am a yoga teacher. I am very big at the phones are on silent.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, we've known each other for quite a few years.
In many different capacities.
Yeah, we have. We kind of keep crossing paths as we go. Yeah, and I guess I watched from afar that journey that you went on.
There's been a lot.
Yeah.
There's been a lot in my 43 years. I think that I have covered a lot. And I'm grateful for it, even with all the fuck-ups.
Yeah. So what, I guess what led you that? Because when you went to India.
India was part of my yoga well, no, actually it wasn't part of the yoga teacher training, but I went with my teacher. Yeah. I've always loved travel ever since, because I was a kid who didn't get to travel. And so I've always been obsessed with knowing that was definitely something that was going to be in my future. But India, like I watched The Amazing Race. No way, that place is hectic as hell. I'm never going there. Until my teacher, my yoga teacher, goes, well, I go all the time and I take little groups with me. Yeah. And there was this part of me that I was in the process of ending a 20-year marriage where I was the masculine. I did all the organising, all the planning, and we'd been overseas a lot. My husband would get on a plane with me and go, cool, where are we going? Because
did you pack his bag?
Yes, I did. Because I just did it all. So when my yoga teacher said, I'm organising a trip, I'm like, I'm on it. She goes, Beck, it's not a princess tour. Maybe you want to have a little look at where we go in the itinerary. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm just showing up. Yeah. And so every day she'd be like, do you want to know what we're doing? I'm like, no, just tell me where to be and what to do. It was so refreshing.
Yeah,
to be just allow yourself to surrender and just go with the flow. It was new for me. That was a life-changing trip for me in so many ways.
Yeah, amazing.
It was amazing. And I'm so glad that I stepped out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because look really closely where you say, I'll never. There's a lot in that word. There's a lot that you need to look at. What are you actually saying no to? It's probably where you need to go.
Yeah, lean into that.
Lean into it. Yeah. So India was that for me.
Wow.
Life-changing.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. And now you're a yogi.
I am a yogi. It's so funny though, because I didn't do the yoga teacher training to be a teacher. I never planned on teaching yoga. You first met me as the owner of an event management business.
Yeah.
24/7 job. I got no time to be a yoga teacher, but I loved philosophy of it. And I wanted to know more about this practice that had helped me heal so much. So that's all I was going in for. So every time they said, let's do a business course, part of the yoga teacher training, I'm like, I'll sit this out. I don't need to know. I'm not having a yoga business. Yeah. And it wasn't until I had to do the practical exam and I taught a class that I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I actually think I'm good at this. And the feedback I got was like, you have to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unreal. And it's good to get those pushes.
It is, again, because I'm in the class to become a yoga teacher. Like, that's what it is. It's yoga teacher training saying, I'll never be a yoga teacher. Listen to the amount of no, I'm not doing it for that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm a yoga teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yes.
So 43 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about something that hasn't really gone to plan. Something that you may have fucked up, may have not exactly worked out.
Yeah, it's like, where do we start? I try not to ever regret any of them because they've all led me to be the person I am now.
Yeah.
And it's taken a long time for me to be able to say, I fucking love the person I am now.
Yeah.
And I'm made up of all of those things.
Yeah.
But in having a think about coming on this podcast, I was thinking about people pleasing. Which, that comes up a lot for my clients.
Yeah.
And thinking about sort of almost like, where did that start? And I had a friend say to me, I've always been known as a very confident person. Walk in a room, own it, have good energy, talk to anyone. I think that's how did you and I meet, just because I just randomly started talking to you?
Probably. I think, we were both quite involved in the local business community and I don't know, we probably met at a chamber thing or...
But it's funny because this person's quite insightful and he actually could pick up on a lot of it was bravado. A lot of it was false confidence. A lot of it was fake it till you make it. A lot of it was putting forth what I thought the world wanted from me. And what I needed to do to succeed rather than it coming from a really deep, authentic place of, no, I really know myself and just project that. And I think that started for me at such a young age and such a young age of really wanting acceptance, attention, validation, like so much need for external validation, so much need for attention and to be filled up by other people. And I know it has a lot to do with my childhood, but I actually remember being the biggest flirt in year 2. In year 2. Trying to get boys' attention, trying to get people to like me, all of that kind of situation. And I actually ended up holding back from, I wasn't promiscuous as a teenager. A lot of parties were happening in high school and, you'd hear stuff the next week as to what had gone on. And I always stayed away from that. And at 17, I lost my virginity to a friend. And he was someone that I was deeply in love with before that, but we'd just become friends. We'd really gotten to that level. And I think I needed that level of trust. But I also needed that level of, I'm not in love with this person, so they can't hurt me. So that was really big for me. So that had happened once before I met a guy. And he seemed really cool and nice, and I was really excited. And I went back to school and told a few people about this older guy I'd met. And then when he found out I was telling people, he yelled at me like, what are you doing telling people about us? And I was all really confused. I'm only 17 at this point.
How old was he?
He would have probably been 19, 20.
Oh, okay. So not
hugely old,
Yeah.
but, it's just kind of like, oh, I thought we were hanging out like, I'm not really well versed in this relationship stuff, but okay. Then I went to a year 12 formal with some older friends as friends. Went to the formal, hung out. It was really great. Went to the after party, and he had gone to this all-boys school, so he was at the after party. And so I ignored him. I'm like, how dare he have yelled at me like that?
Yeah.
But then when he came over to me, he's like, why are you being horrible to me? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I would instantly go, I don't want anyone to think badly of me.
Yeah.
Even though he had, yelled at me saying, don't tell people that we're hooking up. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, come on, I'll give you a lift home. And I'm like, oh, yes, please. Like, oh, now he's talking to me. Yay, I'm getting attention from him again.
Yeah.
But he didn't take me home. And instead, he's like, let's go park down by the lake. And you're kind of like, what do you do? You're a 17-year-old girl in this older guy's car. And you're like, but he just started talking to me again. And I do want him to be my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I do want to go out with him. And I really like him. And I've enjoyed hanging out with him. Not for a long time, but there's a small level going on there. So you're like, okay, people pleaser. If that's what you want to do, we'll go make out by the lake. But I'm so naive.
Yeah.
Guys that age don't want to just make out. So now you're stuck in a car and you can't get home. You're in a formal gown and high heels. And what do you do?
Yeah.
And you can say no. And I said no so many times that it got to the point where I'm like, what do I need to do to protect myself? And I'm like, if you are going to do this, please just put on a condom.
Yeah.
And then I just shut my eyes. So I think that there were some fuck ups from a young age of what do I do to get someone to like me?
Yeah.
And then this is what I think is the fucked up part, because I think there are a lot of women in this world who have put themselves in situations like that where they're like, you idiot, but what do you do now?
Yeah.
But then I feel like we were there till like daylight or something. Like, I mean, it is a long time ago, but then I remember him driving me home and thinking, okay, thank God I'm almost home. This is good. And then the last thing I said to him when I got out of the car was, I'm so sorry for ignoring you at the after party. I apologized.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd just gone numb. But the people pleaser in me was like, I don't want him to still think badly of me, even though he has just done one of the most horrendous things in not listening to me set boundaries and saying no.
Yeah. So deeply rooted in our core to do that.
Yeah. I still want this person to like me. And I remember going inside, and I think I'm quite the queen of being able to block things out. We'll just get on with life. And it wasn't until we were at, I was at a two-story school, and I remember I was in a business class and I was looking out the window into the car park, and like I said, he knew a lot of people at our school, and he was pulling up, and I literally ran to the bathroom and threw up. I had such a visceral reaction, but I hadn't thought about it until I physically saw his car again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I think that putting myself in situations of needing somebody else's validation has been a fuck up for me that has taught me very valuable lessons.
Yeah, yeah. So how did that experience have significant impact on you moving forward into your adult life?
It certainly led me on a path that I didn't envision. So I was then really scared to be around guys. Even though I was a very, like I said, outgoing, flirty, vivacious person, it was interesting because then I only wanted to spend time with people that I really trusted.
Yeah.
And so then at the time, I remember ringing up a boyfriend who I'd been friends with since I was 14 and said, do you want to hang out? And we'd always been such good friends, hours and hours on the phone. And we went to the movies and hung out. And then all of a sudden from there, we got into a relationship. And I remember he came to my work. I worked at a jeweler's, and he handed me a rose, and he could just tell he had this note that just said, trust me.
Yeah.
And so I was 17, and I ended up getting in a 3-year relationship with him and moving out with him. So stopping school,
Oh, wow.
Leaving home, moving in with him because I needed to be around someone that I felt safe around.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel safe at that point at home because of things that were going on with my family. I didn't feel safe with other guys. And I loved him. Like there was a deep 14-year-old, deep love for him, but we were not suited in the slightest.
Yeah.
So I've now moved out of home. I've actually kind of coerced him to move out of home with me. He was a mama's boy. He had it really good at home. He didn't need to move out. He was in uni. He was doing well. I'm now quitting school, having to do my year 12 certificate at night, get a full-time job, support myself. It led me down this track of like, holy shit, like where is my life going? Because I was a really good student. I could be party girl and nightclub girl. I had a fake ID. I had everything. But I would then go home and do all of my assignments.
Yeah.
So, and the only reason why I could do my year 12 certificate at night was you needed back in that day 100 points to graduate. I did 75 points in year 11. I did so much extra work that I only had to do a couple of night classes to finish off my year 12 certificate. Yeah, but so now I'm 17, working full time, supporting myself, finishing school at night, and I had never really put two and two together that sometimes these fuck ups that you're not comprehending as a 17-year-old suddenly are leading me down this other path of maybe that wouldn't have been my life. Maybe I would have gone to, sat my tertiary entrance exam and gone to uni and done all this other stuff, but it derailed me a little bit. Yeah.
I think like we were talking about before about that consciously creating our life and our world. It's a skill that we're not taught when we're young. And we kind of get to this point now in our life where we go, shit, it's up to me.
Yeah.
It's up to me. And imagine how powerful it would be if we were taught that in our childhoods, in our teens, where we had an actual understanding to go, okay, we can create the life that we want. We can create the world that we want. We just have to consciously do that and consciously make the right decisions and be given the tools to do that.
It is a lot because, at that age, you're expected to choose what you want to do at uni, expecting that that's going to be your lifelong career.
Yeah.
Like you haven't experienced life yet. No. Like I remember, thank God we did work experience in year 10 because I wanted to be a primary school teacher and I got to go do that for a week. Fuck no. Fuck no. Thank God for work experience. I don't like kids. I don't know. I'm not spending all day with kids. It wasn't for me. But there's a clue in that. There's the teaching. Then suddenly I flowed on in future life to be going, suddenly I love being a yoga teacher, which I still do on the side as a passion project. But now life coaching, you're not a teacher, but you're helping teach people their brains.
Yeah.
And so even though that there was that spark of it, I just had it in the wrong context of what kind of teacher I wanted to be. Yeah. Because now I know that I have found my dharma. This is what I need to be doing in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great. And I guess, like you said before, not going through life necessarily with regret with things because everything leads you to where you are now.
Yeah. Look at the grit and resilience I needed to be, like when I first moved out, I was working at McDonald's in the jewelry store. And so they're casual positions. And so I said to McDonald's, I need to pay rent now. And they're like, we don't give permanent, shifts. And I'm like, I have to know there's regular money coming in. And they're like, well, you have to do clothes like till 3 a.m. every morning. And it was just like, so.
Wow.
I learned what hard work was and then going and getting a full-time job and doing my night stay. And then I moved on from there and I was in Canberra. So we are pretty lucky to have the public service. And I got into that. I was still a teenager, super young and worked my way up. But then every single ongoing study I've ever done has been while working full-time. So I got a management advanced diploma while working full-time. I then decided to become a photographer and got a full photography degree while working, So I've never had that luxury of just being at school, like just a uni student or
I did that for a year and in hindsight, I didn't appreciate it at all.
I want to go back now.
Yeah. I did a year of uni when I left school, my first run at it, and spent most of my time surfing and playing music and not being at uni. And then when you get serious about studying and wanting to learn and you've got life, you've got, kids and work and businesses, you're like, fuck. I should have appreciated it when I was 18.
And, I really do I have always envisioned for my daughters, and I hope that they still get to do gap years. I want them to travel.
Yeah.
My eldest is like, she's on track to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, I love it. And she would be great at it, but I still want her to go experience the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go and see life and what is it, that does pull at your heartstrings. And I've always been into investing. I've always been into money because I grew up without any. It became very important to me. So I taught myself that really young. I remember I was a teenager when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that book, again, another thing that changed my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm already teaching my girls now how to be financially free so that their job doesn't define that for them.
Yeah. So
that she can, if she still wants to be a lawyer, but maybe she ends up doing it for a not-for-profit or something.
Yeah.
So, I'm still excited for their future, even with this current world we're living in.
Yeah. And that's I think those lessons as a kid. I mean, I think about my own experience, and I had a stepdad that was very frugal, but there was never any education to us around it, and it almost turned into financial rebellion for me.
Yeah,
where I was quite financially irresponsible because I was like, well, fuck that, I don't want to be anything like him. And he was the biggest penny pincher, like takeout for us was $2 worth of hot chips, and I was one of 5 kids at home. If I needed a new pair of shoes, it was a shit fight to get a new pair of shoes and stuff like that. Where kind of like with people that might have alcoholic parents or something like that, you either take that habit on and you normalize it and be like, well, that's just how life is, or you go, fuck that, I'm never going to be like that. And I think I just went so hard against, I'm not going to be anything like my stepdad.
Yeah.
I fucked myself over.
It's so funny because I had that same thought. I'm not going to be anything like them. But I didn't understand the 17, 18% interest rates that, all I saw was all they care about is paying off the mortgage. We didn't get takeaway. We didn't get holidays.
Yeah.
If I wanted shoes, it was the cheap ones from Kmart, and that's social death.
Yeah.
So I got a job at 12. I've been working illegally from the minute I could, because I would take their $5, add it to my 50 and go get the good shoes so I could fit in with everybody else, be the people, but I get it. That's what teenagers are like. But so when I said I'm never going to be anything like them, I meant all they lived for was to pay off the mortgage. They didn't live. There was no living. There was no life.
Yeah.
So when I met my husband really young, I met him when I was 19. Again, we became really good friends before we got together. It was that thing for me of needing that security.
Yeah.
And I said to him, it was funny though, because I really do get what you mean by you go one way or the other. Whereas I said, I still saw the value of money. Like my parents were penny pinchers, and I'm like, we are going to pay off our mortgage, but my God, we're going to travel. It's going to be a balance. And we did, and we invested, and we did so well for ourselves and saw the world.
Yeah.
Like I got to have it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so damn proud of myself for that.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
You should be. Because it is, I think, finding that balance when you have an extreme circumstance like that. It sounds like, my stepdad was very similar. Life was about paying off the mortgage.
We would write everything down in an exercise book, every cent we spent.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that was him too.
Yeah. And then we'd have one in the car. My dad would write down what the price of petrol was, how many litres he put in, what the kilometres were on the car to see if he's tracking. Like it was my dad, But it also, I guess it did teach me to appreciate and go, I am going, because I believe money's energy. And so I respect money.
Yeah.
I give money order. Money likes order. I budget. I save. I invest. But I also freely spend. Because I believe energy in, energy out. Yeah. And so I've been doing lots of practices of gratitude lately of going, I moved out when I was 17 and had to scrape together rent and don't tell anyone, but stealing stuff from Macca's to live on. Like the little Vegemites and the jams and the nuggets. They don't work in the oven. There's no point taking those home.
Got to deep fry those suckers.
But, you know, I still, regardless of that, and I remember then I moved on to the bank. I worked at a bank and then I worked for a financial advisor, and then I quit that job to go to a better job. I hated that financial advisor. But the better job wasn't there, and suddenly I was unemployed.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I've never been unemployed since I was 12.
Yeah.
And I freaked out and ran straight down to the CES, it was called.
Yeah,
you know, like And I was like, I need a job. I need a job right now. And they're like, we got nothing. And I'm like, anything. She's like, well, this dating agency is looking for someone. Like this is, well, you don't even have social media. There's no such thing. Like mobile phones are only just coming in. This is in 97.
Yeah.
She's like, go to this dating agency. And I'm a teenager at this dating agency. It's run by these two middle-aged women. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. You can do some filing and stuff. And they're like, oh, you know what? Here, have this guy. And I'm like, what is it? They literally hand me like a manila folder. We can't find anyone for this guy. He's already on our top tier. Go see if you can get more money out of him. And so I go into this little meeting room like what we're sitting in with this 40-something-year-old guy. And I like just... Okay, if you really want to find somebody, if you really are committed to this, I'm your girl and I will work soullessly just for you, solely and wholly for you. You put down your credit card now and you pay me whatever it was and I'm on this for you. And I walked out of there with his credit card and they're like, how did you get more money out of this guy? That's amazing. And then a week later I got another job. So I never got to help him.
Oh.
So that was another fuck up of...
I wonder if you ever found anyone.
I know.
Dude, if you're out there, let us know.
If you got scammed by a teenage girl who said, put your credit card down and I'll find you someone. I was only there for a week.
Oh.
But anyway, so I've been in this practice of gratitude that, you know, so I have always looked after myself, and now I believe with the backing of the universe. I have never gone without food. I have never gone without a roof over my head, and there are so many people in this world that have.
Yeah.
And I have never experienced that. So anytime I go and buy food now and don't look at the prices, it's like I'm in such gratitude that there's food on the shelves that I have access to. That I have a card and I just pay for it. I walk out the door, you know what I mean? Like, and realizing where I've come, and was it a fuck up moving out at 17? Was it not, you know, but I've always looked after myself and I've always felt supported in some way by the universe.
Yeah.
It's there to catch me with a 1-week dating agency job, but...
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Fuck ups, yes. I mean, I wouldn't want anyone to ever put themselves in a situation like that. And it sent me down this path that I certainly didn't expect. I did expect fully to go to uni, live on resi, have that kind of life. Yeah. But it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't what I needed to learn in this life. Yeah. So, you know, it pushed me down a path of learning other things. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess, because philosophically, there's kind of those the yin and yang of determinism and I guess free will, and you know what will be, and you create this thing. You know, where do you sit on that spectrum? As far, I know we talked before about, you know, we create our world, we create our reality. Yes, absolutely. But do you think there's a degree of determinism in that as well, where things are determined to just happen?
It was really funny. When I was pregnant, I was heavily sick, like bedridden sick for 9 months.
Wow.
And Oprah, at that point, I'd managed to find a radio station she had, which a lot of people sort of don't know about.
Yeah.
And so I'm lying there basically in bed with my eyes closed, just listening to a lot of stuff. And I wish, oh my God, if podcasts were out back then, holy crap, I reckon I'd be the smartest person in the world. But she had, someone was on and she was talking about souls. And I don't know whether it was Oprah or her guest said that she believes that your soul kind of keeps coming back, and like it's almost like it goes from like level 1 to level 10.
Yeah.
And when my daughter was born, my firstborn, I looked into her eyes and went, holy shit, she's above me. She's been here, her soul's been here more than me.
Yeah.
This entity is here to teach me.
Yeah.
And she is. She's been the wisest thing since she could open her mouth. She is amazing. So I really liked that. And you can believe what you want to believe. And my thought with that, and like my company is called the Belief Edit, is what beliefs serve you. I kind of like that one. So I believe that your soul keeps coming back to learn lessons, and it gets better and better each time. So I believe that you will be here to learn certain things, and they will come up no matter what you do. But I still believe massively in manifesting, and that thoughts become your reality. So I teach my clients to be looking at their thoughts every day.
Yeah.
You know, if you are walking into that grocery store going, I can't afford anything, it's all too much, you know, that kind, you know, then you're just going to keep manifesting that. Whereas I keep manifesting thoughts of abundance.
Yeah.
And everything comes to me, everything flows to me, you know. And that's not to say that you think like that 24/7. Like that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
We all have egos. We all have that little voice in the head who is trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if your money runs out? Oh, but what about if they have a protest? What about if COVID stops the food? You know, like...
What if I can't get toilet paper?
What if I would also like to say how blessed I am that I've never been without toilet paper. It's always there. The next day on the shelf, it magically reappears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway. If not, you just go to the toilet at the gym.
There you go.
They always have TP.
And that's the way that you look at it. So, yes. So I am a big manifester.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy envisioning what my life could be. And you see a lot of people miss in the manifesting tool, if you want to call it a tool for life, is that you need to embody what it would feel like when you have that. So like when I embody the feeling of living overseas, which I have never got to do yet.
Yeah.
And I still vision that I will do that. What is it going to be like, you know, when I live in Bali for a couple of months of a year?
Yeah.
What I want that to feel like. I want it to feel free. I want it to feel exciting. I want it to feel new. I want it to feel like a little bit scary because I've never lived in a foreign place before.
Yeah,
so you need to manifest those feelings in your body. Like when you're closing your eyes doing it, or you're doing your vision board, or you're scripting, whatever is your way, you need to get the emotion, because you know how to feel. I know what it feels like to feel excited, a little bit scared, a little bit challenged, a little bit like, oh, this is something new. Get in that, because that's all you're ever chasing.
Yeah.
All you're ever chasing in this world is how is it going to make me feel?
Yeah. And it's funny. I was talking to a mate about this the other day. He's done a lot of self-development, you know, programs, of course, and stuff. And he was saying that they talk a lot about the feel-its. So, you know,
I like that, the feel-its.
Yeah. So you can see it.
Yeah.
But it becomes powerful when you start to feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. It's delicious. It's like it's like my favorite little thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like this daydream, and then I walk away with those feelings, which is what I want to feel when I live in Bali. So why not just feel it now?
Yeah.
I can't go live in Bali right now. Like
Yeah.
it literally is not really on the cards.
No.
I'm sure if I looked into all sorts of documents or what, who knows?
Yeah.
But right now, also, my children, it's just not viable in my life right now, but I still embody that every day, and I bring that feeling to here, and then I try to find what's all the new and fun and different things I can do here.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So have you heard of a guy, Dr. Michael Newton?
No.
Kind of what you were saying with the Oprah thing and what you'd heard there. He has a book called Journey of Souls.
Oh, cool.
And so I grew up in a very religious environment.
Yeah.
Pentecostal Christian. And
I don't know much about that religion.
Hillsong and those, those kind of churches.
I'm Polish, so I grew up Catholic, as in literal holy water. bless yourself, when you walk into my grandmother's house.
Yeah, no, it was a lot more liberal than those kind of more traditional, I guess, religious settings. But at about the age of 24, I kind of went through my own burn it down and rebuild it experience, and that was one of the books that I'd read, and it really aligned with me. And he talks a lot about that, about that we do come back and we do have lessons to learn, and sometimes we will perpetrate an experience in one life that we actually need to learn the balance of that in the next. Ooh. And although some things may be really, really hard for us to deal with and process, perhaps in another life we've been on the other side of that.
Fascinating.
And we need to learn the balance to what we've done previously.
Oh, so it's almost coming into the karma.
And he actually started, and he started his discovery into all of this with his a psychologist and hypnotherapist, and he was doing early life regression, and I guess got curious about how far he could push the regression therapy, and people were describing the experience of being in the womb, and then pushing it. People were describing an experience of the life between lives.
When we all go back to the mass consciousness.
Yeah, and like 16,500 case studies.
So cool.
Of people describing the same thing. And I'm a very logical person as well. And that it just ticked those boxes for me, going, wow, like if it was 10 people anecdotally saying the same thing, you'd be like, okay, maybe. Like 16,500.
Yeah, it's a pretty big case study.
Yeah, and people describing, I guess, past life experiences. So you've never had a regression?
A friend's just been studying it, so I said I'd be a guinea pig for her.
Yeah, cool.
I have always been fascinated, like mediums, and that I've always been like, that'd be so cool to do. The only experience I've ever had was going into a yoga class, and my mother called and said, oh, your grandmother's hurt her, I think it was her knee. She's gone into hospital. She had a bit of a fall, hurt her knee.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, I'll check in on you later. I went into yoga, did the yoga class, went into Shavasana, which is the relaxation at the end.
Yeah.
And the most magical feeling came over me. Tears are pouring out my face. It was like rainbows and butterflies, and it was just like, this is pure nirvana. I have either just become the most enlightened yogi in the world or my grandmother's just died, and this is what it feels like to die. And I got out of the class, and there was a text message saying, a voicemail, and I called her back, and she was crying, and I said, Grandma's just died. And she goes, how did you know? She goes, yeah, she died 10 minutes ago, which would have been when I was in there. And I've never had an experience like it since or before, but I am not afraid to die. I can't wait. It is the most beautiful experience in the world.
Got goosebumps.
It is, so, when I get a lot of fear put on me, and I have recently about COVID from my family.
Yeah.
How can you not be scared that you're going to die? And I said, if I do die from COVID or the bus that's going to hit me or, tripping over and hitting my head, please know that I died happy.
Yeah.
Like I've lived a fantastic life, and I'm sure as hell not going to live it in fear of a flu.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but COVID is a flu, and people have been dying of the flu for generations. It may or may not happen to me, but I'm not going to live in fear.
Yeah.
No way. I'm going to keep living my life.
Yeah.
And loving my life.
Yeah.
And the more I love my life, the more life keeps giving me stuff to love.
Yeah.
And I love the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, like I'm being hit pretty massively by COVID at the moment. Like I said, I'm still a silent partner in an event management company. We do events for thousands of people. How do you think that's been going for us?
Yeah.
So, like I could definitely go into the woe is me and life is shit, and I'm now a single mom and my daughters, and, what am I going to do and why? What does it mean for them? What future are they going to have?
Yeah.
Screw that. I got better things to think about. I got better things to feel.
Absolutely.
Better things to pay my attention to and my thoughts to go on. You know, so if I turn on the news and they're just like, you know, deadly COVID, I kind of have a giggle and turn it off.
Oh, I don't even.
I know I don't want to at all diminish anyone who's lost someone from COVID, but they're not on there going deadly obesity.
Yeah.
Like I also feel for people who've lost family members for that.
Yeah.
Or deadly car crash. Like, come on, people. I've got more chance of dying in a car crash heading to get my COVID vaccine than I do of dying from COVID. So I'm not going to spend my energy on it. Am I saying I'm never having the vaccine? No, it doesn't require my energy right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel I need it right now.
There's more people dying of heart disease.
There's more people dying of everything. There's more people dying of the vaccine than actual COVID, but they're not going to release those numbers. But that's a very political conversation that we could get into. But people can do their own research. People can do their own digging around. Yeah. So for me, it just doesn't make sense. There's a lot of stuff in this COVID thing that's like, this is not adding up.
Yeah.
This does not make logical sense.
Absolutely.
The way the government and the media are being is just something's up.
Yeah.
Is where I'm sitting at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just like,
There's a lot that
this needs a lot of thought.
Yeah.
I'm not just blindly taking fact here that is fed to me from the Today Show.
There's a lot that I don't know, but the one thing that I do know is that we don't know what's going on.
Yes.
That's it. Like I'm the same. I can't say what's heads or tails in this whole.
Because it's always going to be way bigger than any of us can even imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
And people are naive if they think that politics isn't coming into this, that big pharma's not coming into this,
absolutely.
that there's so much at it.
Yeah.
That I just don't want to, I'm not the type of person who just blindly goes, okay.
Yeah, no.
So
absolutely.
I'm still in research phase. But, you know, like I just said, travel is a massive love for me. So it is going to come down, like, in the future.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm in no rush. And look, I work in a field where vaccination's important. When I started to work in community services, I got my full Hep A, B vaccinations.
I went to India. Do you want to know how many shots I had to go to India? Like, I am not an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
Each arm was full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I think, I hope that what we achieve out of the current climate with all this is just tolerance and respect for each other. That's where I hope we get to. And, I am seeing a lot of that. I'm the same. I don't watch the news or anything like that. I guess I get. I mean, everything's bias, everything. But I'd rather listen to podcasts and deep dive into information than to get that 30-second, 1 minute snippet of something.
How can they make it the most dramatic thing in the world? Yes.
Yeah, but
and I do appreciate that. So, for instance, last night, sitting at netball, my daughter's netball game, with 3 other families from the school, and I was mentioning, and something came up about vaccinations, and I said, I'm not interested in getting my daughter vaccinated. Not enough study on it for children. Yeah. There's some stuff coming out of Sydney about them vaccinating the kids.
24,000 kids in a stadium.
And I don't think that they're actually talking about the ones that were taken away in ambulances from having instant reactions. Like, this kind of information is only slowly leaking out.
Yeah.
But every single like, literally we're on a park bench, and every single family is like, they either have their daughter booked in for the vaccination or they're going to.
Yeah.
And they could clearly see that, and I was just like, no, I won't be vaccinating my children at this point in time. And then we kept talking. Yeah. And we kept being friends.
Yeah.
And we kept respecting each other. Their family, their choice. I didn't try to change their mind. They didn't try to change my mind.
And that's what we...
It was really lovely. I was like, right now we do not agree on this subject, and yet we're still sitting here lovingly talking to each other.
Yeah. And I think that's the ultimate result that we can get from all of this.
Yeah.
Is just that
to not be divisive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not at this point anyway.
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean, it's a very fascinating time in history of, I love that saying, and I can never quite get sayings right, but I think it's like life is lived forward but only understood backwards.
Yeah.
And so it'll be so fascinating in the future. And I keep saying this to my girls, this moment in history, what are we going to look back on it and see? That it was a massive fuck up. that it was a massive lie or that it wasn't. And it was a really big, serious thing that, it's just, I'm fascinated to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and it is an incredible time for our kids to be experiencing. Think of our childhood. I mean, we were never kept home from school for months on end. No. The homes, like when and it will come to an end one way or another.
Yeah.
This whole thing will end.
Yeah.
And our kids will be our ages one day, sitting there talking, going, "Can you remember as a kid? Like
remember the vid?"
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting as well is we've had 2 extended family holidays cancelled in a row, 2 yearly holidays. And I said to my sister about my 5-year-old niece, she just turned 5. So when she was 3, she had one cancelled. When she was 4, she had one cancelled. And I know how excited she was to come up here to Queensland and to go snorkeling. And I'm like, how is she? And she's like, she's really used to it.
Yeah.
Because it's happening since she was 3 when she starts having that cognition, COVID is her reality. People can't come to her birthday party because their dad was somewhere and they're now isolating, and it just is. So it is fascinating to see this generation coming up that this is just things get cancelled all the time. Yeah. We can't rely on anything. Disappointment is a fact of life.
Yeah.
Will they be more resilient or will they be negative?
Yeah.
How will each kid handle it? Like my eldest, her year 6 camp was to China. Now my youngest is in year 6.
Wow.
That's sure as hell not happening.
Yeah.
So she's already ripped off. I don't get to go to China. Yeah. So then they were going to go to Longreach, which is in the middle of nowhere in Queensland. But she's excited because it's a school camp and we get to go to Longreach, 20 hours on a bus.
Get to go to the Qantas Museum.
They're now talking about cancelling that. And, it's just this constant disappointment. They look forward to something and they get it ripped away. They look forward to something, they get it ripped away.
Yeah.
So is it going to build? Like I said, I feel like I got a lot of resilience when I was growing up. Is this going to help our children? Because, they talk about the generation under us being wrapped in cotton wool and having no resilience. Because, every kid got star of the soccer match.
Yeah.
And we didn't teach them how to go through adversity.
But then you look at it. Our grandparents, and I've seen, a lot of social posts comparing this, going, could you imagine growing up in the economic times of the turn of the century, then having 2 major world wars, a depression, having the economy build back, having Vietnam, just bang, 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 bang. Like our grandparents lived through insane times, and they were fucking positive people.
Well, were they? Some were. See, this is where it always comes down to the way that you manage your mind. And this is and I was talking, so one of my clients saw a video that I put up and I mentioned that my grandparents met in a concentration camp because they were Polish. So they were
crazy.
Yeah, they were captured by the Germans. Now, luckily we were Catholic, not Jewish, so we were put to work, not to death.
Yeah.
But still, not going to be a great situation.
No, I can't imagine it would be pleasant.
No. And so my grandparents were not pleasant people. I couldn't understand them, but they screamed a lot in Polish, a lot at each other, hated each other.
Wow.
Oof, with a passion. Like you don't need to understand the language to know
what
the vibe in the room is. But you can't get divorced. We're devout Catholics.
Yeah.
So, and a client called me and she said, I saw that. And she had 2 immigrant grandparents who had all gone through that, one on the mum's side, one on the dad's side. So 2 separate sets of grandparents.
Yeah.
One let everything knock her down and was very negative. One, she took it as a building block to, I'm going to be more resilient, more positive. I'm going to overcome this. And she always said, I knew I'm going to be like that grandmother.
Yeah.
So that grandmother knew about emotional management. That grandmother somehow knew what I keep thinking will keep showing up in my body as a feeling. And because we don't realize that everything we do in life is from how we feel.
Yeah.
Feel like shit, I'm going to sit on the couch and eat pizza.
Absolutely.
I feel amazing, I'm going to go for a run. You create your feelings. People think they're at the whim of their emotions.
Well, I guess, I think maybe both can be true, where absolutely we control it. And I think people don't recognise that's a subconscious thing, because where we are impacted by the external factors.
But they come through our filters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, it's something that I've been exploring and learning myself is to go, okay, this person has said this thing or done this thing. It has that impact on me. But what am I going to do to manage my reaction to that? So I'm a very reactive person, which is something that I'm working on in myself, and trying to have control over those reactions and how I react to the external factors in my life. Absolutely, we create those feelings, but if we aren't aware that we're creating them, then we are at the whim of them. Where, if we're not in control of it, it's in control of us.
Like right now, you could push your microphone over, tip your chair back, go, I can't believe what you just said, Rebekah, that was so stupid, and storm out of the room. And depending on my filter, it could be like, oh, nobody likes me. Every time I say something wrong. Ben hates me now. I always do this. Or I could be like, oh, I wonder what Ben's going through.
Yeah.
So I could take it on and cry and be like, oh my God, my life's ruined. Everybody hates me. Or I could be like, oh, what's going on for Ben? What compassion could I have for him?
Yeah.
Two different people react in two different ways.
Yeah.
And I definitely have been a massive reactive person in my life. Talk about a temper, fly off the handle.
Yeah.
And of course you can say that, sometimes we are, can't control it. Like I actually have been diagnosed with a genetic defect where I don't absorb B vitamins or zinc very well. Those two things are needed to control your stress levels. And my youngest daughter has it in spades. I almost didn't even need to get her tested. I'm like, oh, yep, she's got it. It's for sure. My eldest, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And but you still can do things to overcome even genetic markers like that.
Yeah.
So for instance, when that happens to me, like you said, get reactive. Like for instance, I was starting to react when I was hearing, what was COVID doing to our business? I would instantly get like scared and in fear and teary. And women, we can absolutely say this with hand on heart, especially around that time of month, your hormones are at different levels.
Yeah.
What I had to learn to do was have compassion. Right now I'm feeling teary because of this. And yes, it was this external thing coming at me that, my whole business could go bankrupt. I'm going to allow myself to have a cry here because I'm thinking that.
Yeah, so compassion for yourself.
Total compassion, which I've never had.
Yeah.
So totally, and learning how to process the emotion. Because like I said at the beginning, I used to be very masculine energy where I'd be like, suck it up, get on with it, what are we going to do? And push it down. And pushing it down just ended in me either getting a cold, a sore back, suddenly I've got a problem with my foot. Anytime you shove stuff down, it's coming out somewhere else.
Yeah.
So no, I learned to sit in it and go feel all these feelings. Like it's not a bad thing to feel sad that this could be happening to you and cranky at the government and cranky at COVID and, have all of that, process it through, feel it, stop pushing it down. And then once I've allowed it to work through with no judgment and no guilt, then my brain is in a better place. Because, when it goes into that, it's gone into the reptilian brain. You can't make decisions from there.
Yeah.
I allow it to process and then I go, okay, I'm in control of my thoughts.
Yeah.
How do I want to feel about what's possibly happening to this business? What do I want to feel? Okay, I want to feel confident and in control. What do I need to think for that to happen? And then that's when I start consciously creating my life.
Yeah.
So absolutely you can react to things. We're not robots.
Yeah.
You've got to react and process. But I also learnt, and this was a big thing, and my ex-husband's like, woo, you go, girl. I learnt finally to say to him, I'm in a really reactive place right now. Me talking to you is going to get us nowhere because I will react at you. Because I don't want these feelings. That's what we do. We push them off on someone else.
Yeah.
You feel bad. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to put it on you so I don't feel this. So I've learnt to go, give me some space. And he has finally learnt to go, yes, I'll give you the space.
Yeah.
And we actually learnt that post-breakup when we went to therapy. Because we went to therapy after we broke up to learn how to be the best version of this new relationship.
Okay.
As co-parents, as business partners.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what you said about, you know, compassion for ourselves, I guess, like I can recognise that in myself, where I think I'm quite compassionate towards other people. You know, I work in, you know, community and human services where I'm taking care of people that can't take care of themselves. You know, I can identify that with, you know, friends and family. You know, if somebody, you know, in that, if I had a friend, if I, you know, with you and you're my friend, your business is taking a huge hit with COVID and you're feeling upset, absolutely I'd have compassion for you. But then to flip that around and have compassion for myself, wow, like if we sometimes, we need to treat ourselves the same as we would treat someone else.
Absolutely.
That's a challenge.
It is. And that's almost the first place I start with my clients. Is it's like, you know, like they're like, I'm coming to you because I want a better relationship, you know. Yeah. I feel like it's disappearing with my husband. We always start with self. Always start with self-love. How, you know, don't be talking about him. Let's talk about you. Yeah. 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 When it comes to anything, it starts with self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything you would have changed? I know
No. I love my life too deeply.
Yeah.
So in love with my life.
Yeah.
And so in love with what is to come. And all the lessons. If I don't have all of these lessons, then I am not as rich of a life coach. Because I really can understand where a lot of people come to me for weight loss, you know, done that. People come to me because they want to make money, done that. People come to me because they want a better relationship. I have an outstanding relationship with my ex and with my current partner. Like, I don't think that I could have even have it in my manifesting envisioned a relationship as good as what I've got. Yeah. People want to come to me because they want, you know, to be a better parent. I freaking kill it as a parent, you know. Yeah. But, you know, but what's my version of that? My daughter last night said to me, we were talking about how they were amazing sleepers. Yeah. And she said, what about when, like, other kids, like friends, came over to sleepovers? What were they like? How were you really good with them? And I'm like, you know what I'm like. I'm not good with any kids. What on earth would make you think that I'm good with your friends who come to sleep over? As long as they shut up and went to sleep, we're all good. If they needed something from me, no. And she just laughs, you know, what is your version of a good mother? Was I making them homemade, you know, like snacks and patting their heads as they went to sleep? Hell no. But that's not my version of a good mother. I love my children fiercely and I'm always there for them. Yeah. End of story. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I personally have been really learning to give myself a break because I can be so damn hard on myself. You know, like a typical would be like, oh, you shouldn't have said that in the podcast, and oh, maybe you should have added this in, and if you'd done that better, fuck that. Whatever I said today was meant to happen. Yeah, I did the best I could in the moment I did, and my life is exactly where it needs to be. Yeah, and everything will unfold exactly as it needs to. Yeah, yeah, and I guess there's power in letting each moment be its authentic thing. Because I know what I've been working through lately is the fact that when I was married and had my 2 beautiful children and our $1 million house and hundreds of thousands of dollars in income and overseas trips every year, like there's a part of me that goes, you fucked up because you left that behind. Yeah. You don't have that life anymore. You had it all. You had everything that everyone aspires to. Yeah. And you blew it up, you know? So there's been parts of me that are just like, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. Yeah. And if that really was the pinnacle, if there was like, I was actually I took a note down in my phone on the way here this morning. And the note was, there's no such thing as perfection. We're always striving for perfection. But, you know, if this phone was the perfect, we lost some lights. If this phone was the perfect phone, Apple wouldn't make another one. No, we wouldn't keep evolving, and the evolving's the fun stuff. You know, we
Yeah. We wouldn't learn more if we were at the absolute peak and pinnacle of scientific discovery. There'd be nothing left to learn. There'd be nothing left to discover or explore. And there's no such thing as perfection.
Yeah. And it was funny because the Facebook Live that I made yesterday was talking to my clients about we all strive for happy.
Yeah.
And I was questioning whether is happiness really what we're looking for, or is the point of life to keep growing? And you can't grow without being challenged. You can't grow without being in discomfort. And when you're in discomfort, that's not happy.
Yeah.
Or is it? Depends how you view it. You know? So right now I don't have that life that I had. And I think there's this been part of me that was sort of like going, that was the pinnacle and that was perfect and I need to somehow recreate that up here.
Yeah.
That was just something that taught me a really valuable lesson. I took a lot from it and I've grown and I've evolved. I'm a different person and I'm going through different challenges now.
Yeah.
And I'm a happier person with all of these challenges. Like I actually was bored back then.
Yeah.
I was bored. I was lifeless. I was one of my clients going, what's the point of life? I've lost all my joy. I don't know what to do. I've got all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And all this means to do everything, but I just don't really like life. And, you know, and anyone else on the outside looking in would be almost like, you ungrateful bitch. Like, are you kidding me? What is there not to be happy about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that I have way more challenges in my life, I'm happier than I've ever been.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's how you choose to look at life.
Yeah.
I'm
absolutely.
happy with the challenges I have.
Yeah.
Because they are evolving me into a newer person. Is it better? I don't know. Again, that's relative. But it's an evolved version of me. The old me wouldn't have handled it this way. The old me wouldn't have known this.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to look back, to think about looking back and going, oh, you naive 43-year-old. Like you didn't know anything back then either. You evolved so much from there.
Yeah.
That was just a moment in your life. And look at all the stuff you then came onto. Can you believe that you spent time, you know, lamenting about, oh, I had the life in Canberra and I blew it up? You idiot. Because then it went on to this.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to go, what will this be?
Yeah. Be excited about what's to come.
I know. Yeah. But all I know is that it's going to be good because I feel good.
Yeah.
Not all of the time.
Yeah.
Hell no. Life throws stuff at you. That is life. But I also know that when you're in it, that it's just a moment in time.
Yeah.
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 And I have the skills to get out of it once I accept and process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So people facing the same kind of challenges as you have.
Which ones? Which ones?
True. So I guess you know what we've talked about the perhaps you know the people pleasing, that leading you into some you know
dicey situations.
Yeah, and then I guess evolving from there as a person. What's that key bit of advice that you would give those people?
Oh, it would absolutely be to listen to you. So many of us are cut off from listening to our own soul. And our body gives us clues every minute of the day, you know. And even from the simple thing of, you know, I'm feeling a bit run down today and I think I need some me time. Oh, come on, honey, we've got to go to my mother's house today. Got to go to the mother-in-law's house today. You know, we're going over there for dinner. And like suddenly you start getting a headache and you not feel like your body is telling you, stop people pleasing, stop saying yes to going and doing what everybody else wants. Like put your foot down and say, I need some me time. And you know what? That has happened in my life a lot where I've seen people do that when I'm the one who shows up.
Yeah.
And I've been like, how dare they? How dare they get to stay home and not come and I'm just like, because I'm so cranky at them following what they need and listening to themselves and learning their own intuition and what their own needs are. Because the fact is that I, like an example like that, I'd show up full of resentment, crankiness and what's the point? What's the point in living your life from that place because you're doing what everybody else wants?
And then you fill that space with that energy and nobody has a great time.
No, because they're all feeling your energy and you don't want to be there and they don't want you there now and it's just one big mess. And I lived my life in one big mess of crankiness and resentment and pissed off that I was doing this stuff for other people when I was always, well, I want them to think well of me. I want them to think that I'm the good person by being here and I'm the good person by doing this. And
Yeah.
So, listen to yourself, learn yourself.
Yeah.
Even just, I was teaching this workshop on finding your purpose. And one little example that I do is like, get up, we're just going to do a quick kinesiology. Have you heard of kinesiology? Yeah. It's the simplest thing. You're going to stand, make sure you're in barefoot or flat feet, and you're going to say to yourself, no, I sway backwards. Yes, I sway forwards. So and only ask closed questions, yes or no. So like you would stand there and go to calibrate, am I a girl? And you would sway backwards. And then ask it questions like, do I really want to do this thing right now? Your body doesn't lie. Yeah. And so people were like, oh shit, like my body's really saying yes to this. And I'm like, well, explore that.
Yeah.
Explore that. So listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to the clues your body's giving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever done those pendant readings?
Yeah. Because our body is energy. Our body is telling us stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest thing that I really work with my clients on is they look to the external for validation. They look for, even like talking with someone the other day, the externalness of her job. Like she's had a few different really good careers.
Yeah.
But that's where she gets her identity from. It's who do other people think I am? And it's like follow your own bliss, follow your intuition, follow your soul, follow what, and I know people are like, oh my God, that means that everybody will just, like sit on the couch and eat pizza, watch Netflix because it's what their soul wants to do. No. You're only doing those things to escape.
Yeah.
To escape the life that you're living that you're not loving.
Absolutely. Yeah. The last few months, I've been on a bit of a personal journey and I haven't watched TV or Netflix or anything at all. Like I just, when you stop and you go, actually, what does my soul really want? It's not that.
Yeah. It's
not that stuff. That is a numbing mechanism. It's like the numbing cream for our mind. I've been through that experience of going, okay, what do I really want? I'd rather go for a walk and listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
I'd rather sit there and read a book.
And it is sometimes like, because I always get up early and exercise. And I remember one night and I was messaging my partner because he works away and I'm like, I don't want to sit and watch TV, but it's almost like I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a habit. And he's like, go for a walk. I'm like, but I went for a walk this morning. Oh my God, I could take 2 walks. It was like this revelation. Oh my God, I can walk when it's not morning. And because I love walking and listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah.
So listen to yourself, listen to your body.
Yeah. Listen to the clues it's giving you.
Yeah.
Like really start to learn how to be. In the coaching world, it's called internally referenced.
Yeah.
You're not getting your references from the external.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy. What challenges you, what grows you, what evolves you into the next version, not what everybody thinks you should be doing.
Yeah.
Because that's the life I was living in Canberra, what everyone thought I should do.
Yeah.
Which is pretty mainstream. Get married, build a house, have some kids, have a career, go overseas, go on your 1 trip a year. Spend 50 weeks of the year planning my 2-week holiday. I lived for those 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was just the daily grind.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
that is my big thing to people. And get support.
Yeah.
Like you said, sometimes it always starts with awareness. It's a growing nagging inside them that I want something more than this. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Reach out.
So how can people find you? Reach out to you?
The Belief Edit everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, website. So
jump onto Google.
Onto the Googles.
And the Belief Edit.
Thebeliefedit.com.au.
Awesome.
Yes. But most people find social media. It really has superseded websites, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I love it. I do my videos. So I go live. People sending questions. I answer their questions for them.
Yeah.
Have little chats, whether I'm lying by the pool or walking the dog.
Yeah.
It's just authentic and natural. And I just chat. I basically just stare at my phone and chat to my peeps.
Nice.
Yeah. And then like Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
Like I remember when they first came out going, oh my God, what is this stupid stuff? But at the moment, it's like the world needs some lightheartedness.
Yeah.
The world needs some idiots dancing on Instagram. I haven't done it yet, but I plan, you know what I mean? Just put something fun and light out there. Yeah. So I did one the other day that I went, oh God, like that is out of my comfort zone to be so sort of silly. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Lighten up people's worlds with a bit of a message there. Yeah. Deliver the message in a lighthearted way. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us.
Thank you for having me, everyone.
Yeah, it's been lovely to see you again, and just lovely to see you flourishing.
Yes, that's a really good word. Thank you. That's what I feel like I am.
Yeah.
It's
great.
And it's just what I want to give to everyone else.
Yeah.
The tools of how to do that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I have the best job in the world. The clients that I have are the most amazing people who have like gone, no, damn it, I'm putting me first, putting my money where my mouth is. I'm investing in me, putting these dollars into me, into my brain, into my future life.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love watching them.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, Rebekah from The Belief Edit.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It has.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.
See ya.